Hello, everybody. It's time for another show. Time for another show. I'm sorry. Okay, everything seems good here. And we've got a little problem here. We'll see if it works well. If it works well, I'm going to stay like that for now. I forgot to plug in my Ethernet cable, so I'm on the Wi-Fi. Hopefully it still works fine for the signal. So I would guess so. Pretty close to the router anyway, so I would guess it's going to be okay. So hey everyone, welcome aboard. This is the Tech Show number 109. And we are Thursday, March 22nd, 2018. This is a show about technology. We talk about technology, and we just have a lot of fun with a chat room that is fantastic, and people that are just great people overall. And we are going to, of course, talk about technology. For those that have questions, we are going to answer the questions at the end. So after I do my tech news, and not answering questions right away, right now, we're going to go through the next to the little stuff that we need to talk about. And basically, for those that there was just about a couple of hours ago a cumulative update that was pushed to Windows 10 for those of you on version 16.299, which is the fall careers update. We just got an update that fixes a ton of bugs. So there's no security stuff in there. And basically it is available only for fall careers update. I just applied it on my main computer that I'm streaming with, and went well. Fixes a lot of bugs. Apparently it fixes tons of little things that happened and that were buggy within the Windows operating system. So hello everybody, nice to have you all here, and nice to be, of course, live once again. And it's always cool to have everybody on board. Hello in the chat room to Dakota Fang. Nice to have you here. Green9227, nice to have you here. Bobby Burgess. Omer FA 2018. I will answer questions after I read my news. So keep your questions for a little later. We have also in the chat room Zach Antle. Nice to have you here. And thanks, by the way, everybody, for your birthday wishes. We're much appreciated, and always nice to feel loved from everywhere around the world. It's kind of cool. Douglas Elliott, hello there. Nice to have you on board. MDK2, hello there. WMH Predator 1, nice to have you on board. Tim Robinson, hello there. Patrick Manny, hello there. David Walker, pretty cool to have the usual names. Missing anyone? Say hello, please, if I'm missing out on anybody. And it's always fun. Christine Bowman, hello there. Albert Zappa, nice to have you here. And it's always kind of cool to have all of you guys and girls over here. Ripple Pearls, nice to have you here also. It ain't the same in our chat room without the women there. There's something, it adds a new dimension, a different dimension to the chat room and everything. It's fun to have everyone here. And thanks for the virtual e-cards, which were very, very nice. And nice to have all of you on board. So like I said, don't forget, there's a cumulative update that was pushed this afternoon. It fixes, like I say, a lot of bugs. So you don't have to do it right away and miss part of my show. You just, do it later. Bug fixes, no security in there, anything. So it was pushed only for fall careers update. If you're on an older version of Windows 10, there's no update for you guys today. And of course, we are just, kind of wondering what's happening with the insider bills and when we will have that bill that will be the thing, the Spring Creators Update or whatever. So cheers, everyone. And pretty nice to have all of you here, for sure. Okay, yep, possible. It's just a rumor, but possible. But anything can happen. Could be next week. But we're really close, and we're going to talk a little bit about that because there's a few things that is annoying. Not just me, a lot of tech journalists, by the way. And I have flavored water today, by the way, because I will have 2 radio shows, and I usually drink my beers on the radio shows. So I don't want to have my I want to take a day off of the beer and stuff, especially because it's my birthday this week. I actually drank, I think I drank almost every day from Friday till, well, I drank with the last show last week. So from Thursday of last week up to yesterday, I think I drank every day. So I'm going to kind of, just take it easy today with flavored water. And then we'll have the beer for the... we'll have the beer on the radio shows tomorrow and Saturday. What do you say? Nice to have you on board, by the way. Of course, you can help out if you wish with donations at... I didn't fix that PayPal link again. Oh, man. I always forget. It's paypal.me, not .com. Don't look at the com. paypal.me/shortwave. Or if you have donated already, you can actually say give a little something at the Yahoo email that you have. You can join 9 patrons on my Patreon account, patreon.com/radio and computers. This is where you can actually send in every month, the beginning of the month. There's a little something. So it's a little tricky to set up, but it's a nice way also to kind of do it automatically without having to think about it. Thanks to everybody who've donated, and like I said, please if you watch my show and you can donate and you've never donated and you watch my show regularly, why not give me a little something? Helps out and helps me continue what I'm doing here. Okay, first item of news. Do video games or violent video games really make you a bad person in life? A more violent person? And yes, Tim, I did receive the donation yesterday. Thank you very much, by the way, Tim. So, thanks. I actually paid... used it to pay myself a couple of beers at the bar yesterday. They have, it's interesting, it's the only place in the world that I know that actually can accept PayPal payments for beer, and I stumbled upon it by accident, and I said, oh really? Oh, okay, well, let's try it, and actually does work. I've actually paid my beers with PayPal. It was kind of, oh, okay, kind of cool. I've never seen a place that can actually do that, and being the tech guy that I am, I was like, yeah, I want to try that. I want to buy my beer with PayPal, come on. So your donations was used for beer yesterday. So, thanks again. Sheriff's House, nice to have you here. So, anyways, it comes from a study. It was very interesting. They did a study. They followed a tons of guys that played Grand Theft Auto. So for those that don't know what that is, Grand Theft Auto is kind of a, it's a little violent. I mean, you steal, you break everything. It's just the worst that you can be as a human, basically. And basically, it's kind of cool. Oh, really? You can PayPal at a dollar store, Bobby. Wow. That was the first time I've seen it. I've never seen anywhere else where PayPal actually worked. So, anyways, they have basically followed tons of people. And they looked at who they were at the beginning. So, of course, the first thing that they did is a survey. Who are you, and in life are you already, because we don't have the same, we're not all the same. So some of us are a little more violent than others, naturally. And it has to do with tons of things, including the amount of testosterone, apparently. So they surveyed, they look at what type of person you were, then they made you play Grand Theft Auto, and you played, not for a couple of hours, they followed you playing Grand Theft Auto. It was a requirement for, like a year. And they looked at who you are and who you were after playing Grand Theft Auto and everything, and they said what they kind of see is that it doesn't change who you are. You're not more violent because you played a violent game. You're just naturally whatever you are, and it doesn't make you worse or better. And that, I've seen another study because, this comes from the fact that, of course, all the shooting that's been, in the United States, and with Donald Trump saying, well, the violent games are the big problem here. That's why it's happening all the time. What that study seems to say is, don't blame violent games. They really have not changed anything. And if you are someone that will do something bad like that, you are already somebody that will do something bad. And the games that you play don't increase the chance of you being a bad guy. It's just who you are, and it doesn't change anything. I played a lot. One game that I loved playing, and actually I'd love to play again, is Call of Duty, which I absolutely love for not just, what I like about Call of Duty is there's a lot of historical aspect to it, like World War II stuff. Graphics are beautiful, and I'm not a violent guy naturally. Okay, I will defend myself if I have to, but naturally I am not the type of guy that will, hit someone, for example. But, I've played Call of Duty and killed tons of people and soldiers. It didn't change who I was. And I think that it's, I have a lot of difficulty thinking that it might have an impact on, making you, giving the chances, maybe hiking the chances of you being one of those people that will kill tons of other people. I think it's already in you. It's already there, and a lot of it has to do with frustration around things also. So, sometimes you have frustration about something. Some people just, can't get away from their frustrations. Some people, they just get there and they get stuck on that frustrating moment, and they just think about it all the time, and they never again get away from it, So I think it is pretty much who you are, at the most basics. I can tell you that. So anyways, AMD, that story is kind of weird. So, hey, Sean Robinson, nice to have you here, by the way. And it's just crazy, It's there was security flaws that were found on AMD chips, and as the story is unfolding, we're kind of seeing that it is a mix of security flaws and a mix of backdoors that they actually intentionally implemented within their devices. And I don't know. I don't know exactly how to answer this. Some of the backdoor stuff is like, why you do that? Why did you implement such things? Plus, AMD isn't clear exactly at what it is, except that they issued a statement saying, well, we're going to fix it, So it's almost as if they tried something. They tried to implement a way to go have a backdoor possibility within their chips, and it just got out of control. And so they said they're going to issue a fix, and they said that the fix will not slow down your PC, unlike Intel. But I don't know. That's a weird story. It's very, very bizarre, I can tell you that. Devil's Drill, hey there. Nice to have you here. So, you know, it's just crazy. Just crazy. And we don't really know, you know. It's pretty crazy. Yes, that update that I just talked about, which is mostly bug fixes, by the way, for those of you that have that update, for sure. What else do we have? We have that controversy that's going on with Skip Ahead. So Skip Ahead, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it in the Insider Show later. Skip Ahead, since 17623, some of you have noticed that the Mail app, when you click a link, actually opens Edge, even if you decided that by default you are using another browser. And so somebody told me, well, you know, this is probably a bug. No, it's not, because in the blog post they kind of slided that thing somewhere in there in a way that actually looks like Microsoft just barely wanted to mention it, because they knew that everybody would go mad at it, and everybody did go crazy over it. And so, you know, I just want to say one thing to Microsoft. Sorry, but when we choose a default browser, can you please respect that we want to open it with the default browser and that's it? We don't want to use Edge. You don't want to use Edge. You know, live with it. Some people don't want to use Edge. That is the side of Microsoft that drives me mad. How dare you do something like that? Okay, please stop doing stupid things. You know, you always wonder why Microsoft gets bashed here and there by people all the time. Well, I'm sorry, but an idiot decision like that is what is making people say, well, you know what? They are bad and they are doing things I don't want. And yeah, look, like what you just did. Now, please roll back that thing and make sure that we're not going to have that when it's coming out next fall. Because, I mean, everybody is extremely, you know, I find it all right. Everybody is mad at Microsoft with such a decision. Stop doing stupid things, Microsoft, okay? I'm just sick and tired of that kind of attitude of, let's do this, and not only we do it, we just put it in a very small space here so that maybe when you read, you'll skip over it and not understand. Okay, don't do that. Don't do that. It annoys everybody, even annoys me. Okay? Come on. No more. The new features for security that were implemented by Apple in iOS 11 on security. So it turns out that your phone, if you have a iPhone, you can click 5 times on I think it's the left button, and it actually sends an emergency call that you're in trouble. And of course, if you have an Apple Watch, well, you just hold it for a certain number of seconds, and it actually does what it says. So, anyways, thanks for the donations, by the way, and sorry that the notifications are showing it here. We'll have to fix that so that nobody sees whatever people donate. So anyways, those that have the watch, and there was a story of this guy that actually was sleeping, and he wore his watch, and in the position he was when he was sleeping, the button got stuck, and the cops arrived at like 2 in the morning. And the funny thing is, the guy says, he said, well, I didn't call, and the cop said, do you have an Apple device? And I said, yeah, an Apple Watch, and so on. And he looked at his watch, and it did call emergency services. And the cop said, you know what, it's an increasing problem. More and more we have false alerts like that because of, the Apple devices doing that. So apparently there's tons and tons of emergency calls. And it's totally crazy. Totally crazy. Totally crazy when you think about it. I think there are ways to implement, because the idea behind this is fine. I accept the fact that there's a way to send a emergency call in case you are in trouble and you can't really talk. Maybe they should think twice about how it's done so that it doesn't get triggered all the time. That's another story. Facebook. You gotta hate Facebook. Yeah, that missing boy here, 10-year-old boy, and that is missing here, and everybody's searching. Absolutely. So, crazy. 8 volts. So, yeah, they're kind of, it's really crazy. It's a set of measures that they've kind of implemented to have some kind of backdoor access. But it's turning against them now because of the security flaws that it's creating. It's just crazy. Top Shot, hello there, nice to have you here. Atawahinta, nice to have you on board. And so, anyways, yeah, like David says, I use Edge, but Microsoft should not at all decide what browser we use. It's our decision. We decided to use another browser. Come on, Microsoft, live with it, okay? Please. Just crazy. So, Rav Gosh, nice to have you here. I don't have any issues with Windows 10, by the way. It's as fast today as it is the original. One of the things that we have to not forget, the famous meltdown fix for Windows and the Spectre fixes for the Intel processors are actually slowing down our computers. So that is crazy. That is crazy. So, it's just crazy. Yeah, the emergency thing about the Apple Watch and all of that, I think it's crazy because, emergency services have to respond, whatever happens. But, I imagine how to, you actually will have a, fake emergency, and at the same time, the cops could have responded to something that's happening that's real, and there could be a life and death situation, by the way, in there. It's just crazy. So it's just crazy. But there's a lot of it's a lot of there are ways to do things that might not hurt. Yeah, well, vaults. There's a lot of backdoor things that are made to that are kind of big problems, anyways. There should not be a way to access anything like that. It's crazy. Hey there, Cool Tech. Nice to have you here. So it's just crazy. There's actually talk. Ripple Pearl says, "What opened the concept of an open system?" I think it was yesterday on Windows Weekly where Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley were kind of saying that Microsoft is trying to beat Apple when it kind of should not be that. I mean, the reason why people moved away from Macs, for example, is the openness of the Windows operating system. For some reason, they want to work that and try to make that go away. Just look at S mode. S mode is what? It's typically the same thing as if you had an iPhone. It's iOS, but with Windows. So only apps from the store. You're in jail. Nothing you can do. Just crazy. But it's just crazy. So now to that Facebook news. Facebook news is just crazy, and basically it's I've always, since the first day I've used, I'm a Facebook user for the past, I started using Facebook maybe in, 2010? Something like that. Maybe a little before. And I always thought of Facebook as something that is dangerous due to the high probability of stealing data. And the high probability of having so much personal information in there that are just, it's just crazy. And I look at all the people and how did everything they answer in Facebook, and it freaks me out that people actually do a Facebook page and answer every damn questions, and you got your full life in there. My Facebook page is somewhat different. It doesn't have all the required information necessarily correctly. I've done it in a way that there are things that maybe are fake, so that the less valuable information about me is there. But it's still something I use. I use Facebook quite a lot. And you look at, what's happening, and it's just crazy. First of all, I think there's an overreaction, even though there is something that you have to understand. When you use Facebook, you're already using something that you got to be careful. There's tons of info on everyone there. The other thing is, and I see that all the time, people don't understand one major issue about Facebook. Clicking those, I don't know how many times a day I see somebody posting this is what you're going to look like when you look, when you're older, click here and we'll tell you. Yeah, but when you do that, what don't you understand? That, you're also not just, because people think about themselves. Oh, what the hell? I don't care. My personal info, I don't care. Got nothing to hide. Yeah, but when you click that thing, you're also giving away your friend list. And basically what's happening right now, the controversy is around the fact that in the past, Facebook was actually much more dangerous in that aspect. So 270,000 people answered a quiz, and basically it stole 50 million users' full data, not just a little bit, everything. So Mark Zuckerberg says, yeah, we fixed that, but still, it's crazy. It's crazy that it is there's so much really carelessness about all of that, and the Cambridge Analytica stuff. It's just crazy. But they take care of MDK too. But you know what? It's something that that also, and I've got a lot of questions about that. Are you going to delete your Facebook? I've got that question maybe a dozen times since yesterday when I posted the news and the how to delete your account, basically. So when I posted that, I had about a dozen people send me an email or message and say, "Are you deleting your Facebook?" So, like I said, I've been on Facebook since 2010, and I've, as a tech guy, kind of did a few things to lock down first of all, so that you have the least amount of stuff that is visible to people that I don't want to. There are some stuff in there that are not right. I've have a few things that I've not done okay to intentionally false data a little bit. Still, I don't click games, and I don't click the I want to see if I can what I'm going to look older, or I want to see if what I look like as a girl, or I don't care. Okay, and people should understand that doing that, you're always giving tons of information to, and let's face it, to third-party companies that you have no idea who they are. It looks like it's something that's innocent, but honestly, what I'm going to look like when I'm older, and that's a famous one that I see all the time in the past few months. Who are they? What's that company? What do they do with the data? And of course, they have the friend list. So one of my friends clicked. I am part of the friend list now that they have at that app or that third-party company. It's crazy, ATOT, nice to have you here. And yes, please save your questions for later, please. Very important. So will I delete my Facebook account? Personally, I will not. I will not, because the way I've done it and the information I've given and the very minimal information make it so that I don't care too much about what's happening. Yet, I am sensitive to what it knows, and Facebook knows a lot more than pretty much everybody thinks. My reason behind not deleting my account is how important it is to me versus with the interactions that I have with friends and family versus the dangers of Facebook itself. I gotta say, I use Facebook quite a lot and interact a lot with my friends and family through it. And it is something that I actually like, the fact that it keeps me in contact with a lot of people I want to continue seeing, including people that are not necessarily in the same city. So, personally, my account, I will not delete it, but there's a genuine question of should we or should we not delete our Facebook account. A lot of people are deleting their Facebook account. So it's just crazy, and that one made me laugh here. She says, "I already know what I look like old." God. So there's a lot of these things. I think it depends on. There are people that are not on Facebook. There's some people that don't want to be on Facebook, and there's a lot of them, and it's okay. There are people that will want to delete their accounts. I totally respect that. And of course, that's where it hits and hurts the most at Facebook. Deleting your account is what can hurt the most for Facebook. If everybody tomorrow would delete its account, we would, Facebook would be in deep trouble. What I think we need, Douglas Perry, hello there, nice to have you on board. What I think we need with Facebook is much more. We need regulation. You know what? Facebook has just shown us one thing. Well, okay, we need maybe a government regulation that's going to say, okay, here's what you're allowed to do and not do. Because right now, they do almost what they want. We need a new way of everything showing up. We need, if you click that, what do I look as a woman or man or whatever? We need to have a very clear view of, this is what's going to happen with the data that we have about you and your friends. And do you want to continue? It should be something that should be there, not something that, you know, oh, well, you know, we can maybe say something about it, or, you know, I don't know. It's, in my case, I'm not deleting it because the usefulness for me of Facebook is outweighing the whatever could happen with my data. Especially, like I said, got a lot of data that's kind of not the real deal. So, you know, and I don't click any apps, third-party apps in there to do something. It's something I don't find interesting in. And I never click because there's just too many. There's just too many things that can be done with these third-party apps in there. Hey Thomas, nice to have you here. And you know, I think there needs to be some regulation around Facebook of everything. The problem with Facebook is by its own nature what type of media it is, you know. But there are, you know, I mean, there could be other ways to keep in touch rather than Facebook. There are apps out there, you know, that you know, like Instagram, for example, that you can still keep contact. Has less of a, actually, you know, Instagram is part of one of those that was built on the fact that we try to keep more anonymous stuff rather than Facebook that has a lot of stuff. But you know, it's I think you do what you want. If you wish that if you think, but I think it all has to do with, you know, how you use Facebook and what you do with it. But one of the things that I have to say about what happens with Facebook right now is, yes, they went overboard. Yes, there was way too much meddling with the data. But the thing is, the side of you know, if you use it wisely and try not to give too much real details about you, there's a limit. And I'm kind of amazed that people react like they are reacting now, because yes, they did a big blunder, but they are, from the start, from the day I subscribed to Facebook, I understood what it meant, that all of that data was out there, and the more you answer the questions, the more it's a problem, you know. You gotta understand that. So, you know, kind of crazy, but I think it's up to whatever you do with Facebook and how you use it. YouTube live streaming coming to Google Chrome, and actually it's already there because I was looking at the channel through Google Chrome just before I started, and I didn't do it because I thought, well, you know, this is like a real show and I don't want to mess it up, so I'm not going to use it now. But I will do kind of a test live show on one of the the evenings where I usually don't have and it's crazy, you know. But as well saying, being careful with data is very hard, absolutely, and the bigger, absolutely, because the bigger the company, the more interactions you have, and some of them sometimes you kind of lose track. You know, big companies lose track of a lot of stuff they do, and that's where the danger is also. And the more employees you have, the more danger also about your data. So, anyways, you will now be able to stream on YouTube using Google Chrome browser. And like I said, I will try that probably next week. I'm not sure which day yet, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday if I have the time. I will do a test YouTube stream just to see how it goes through Google Chrome, which is nice because it means no more third-party software to stream, which is something absolutely cool. And meaning that if it works well, you know what, I'll do it through Google Chrome all the time. But it all depends on, you know, how well it goes for that, for sure. So we'll see, you know, because you know, piece of software like I have right now, like Wirecast. I use Wirecast right now to stream. It has tons of possibilities, but tons of possibilities. I'm afraid that maybe there won't be that many possibilities through the Google Chrome browser, but I guess, you know, they're gonna get better at it as time goes. So you know. So Tim tested it last night. Not bad, but needs work. Okay, I'm gonna check it out. You know. So I haven't tried OBS Vaults on the streaming yet. I need to try that out too. That's also one I need to test out. I got it for the screen recording, so why not try it with the with streaming also. Google Maps will be able to tell you, you know, talking about having a lot of personal data. You know, we're going crazy with Facebook, but let's face it, Google is another one of those dangerous, very, very slippery slope style companies. They're going to add to Google Maps the possibility to know if you're what's the waiting time at your favorite restaurant, which is kind of interesting. I mean, now that you go out, you can, you know, you'll be able to see, you know, what's the wait time. The funny thing that I don't understand about it is why you're implementing this in iOS first. I mean, it's Google. Why don't you implement that on Android first? I'd be Google. I'd implement everything on Android first, and eventually iOS. You know, but they're going like the other way. Kind of weird. So, okay, well, I'll try it out because the encoding on Wirecast is taking a lot of CPU load. It's quite crazy. So, we'll check it out. And so anyways, one of the new features, and of course, features that will know more about us all the time. This is the annoying part of Microsoft right now. Not the name. The fact that there's still no official name. I mean, we did kind of have a news item that apparently is going to be called Spring Creators Update, but we don't really know. Nobody officially announced. And as we're getting the real deal in, you know, a few days for insiders, why don't we have a date for the release, the official date? There's none. Nobody's saying anything. And there's just rumors. So there's a rumor that tomorrow we might have the real thing for insiders. So of course tomorrow is going to be the time I'm going to check it out. There's a rumor that maybe April 11th for everybody. And there's a rumor that it's Spring Creators Update that I hope they please don't call that. Once again, Microsoft, please don't use this, okay? Please. Just say Windows 10 version 1803. That would be perfect. Perfect. It tells everything, and just use these numbers from now on, you know? Windows 10 version, you know? It's just, they could have, maybe a few weeks back say, hey, we're going to release this on that date, and we're gonna, call it Windows 10 version 1803 or something. I don't know. It's sometimes, it's another one of those annoyances I have right now. Microsoft, why do you want people to hate you so much? A few questions that I'll answer from here, and if I have some in the chat, I'll check it out. First question comes from Donald, and he's asking, because he's using Windows 7, he's got an all outdated computer that is too old. He says, what I have right now is I want to buy a new PC, but it seems that it's only Windows 10. I can't have anything else, which is absolutely true. So he says, I'm tempted to buy a new PC, but use something else, like either buy a Mac or a PC and have Linux installed on it. And he wanted to have my advice on what I think. It's very tricky, okay? I'll say it like that, because it all depends what you do. Also, remember one thing. Going from Windows to Linux or Mac, there's a learning curve. You're not going to be on that, you're not going to be in Linux and say, hey, that's easy to use and this is how it works. You're going to be like, okay, how do we install a program on this? How do I figure out what this does, and so on. Support. Linux support for devices is one thing. There's a lot of devices that aren't supported. You'll have to specifically buy devices that are known to have support in Linux. On the Mac side, it's less of a problem, but you are on a OS, the Mac operating system. And the thing is you might be all right with a Mac computer, but I would mostly say, think about it, because honestly, if you're used to Windows, there ain't that much difference in Windows 10. You're gonna just have Windows 10 and that's it, and it's gonna work with everything, and you won't have to think twice about, I need to buy this device, but is it compatible with whatever operating system? And the learning curve is there. I mean, and people tell me, oh, well, get a Mac, it's so easy. Yeah, when you come from Windows world, you're gonna say, what the hell did I do? Some people bought Mac computers and totally regretted it afterwards. I always tell that story of when I was doing a lot of tech duties. This couple, the wife buys a Christmas gift to her husband, buys a Mac computer. Her husband was always on Windows. And I remember she looked at me, she said, man, I just am I regret buying a Mac. He's always lost and doesn't know what to do when he wants to do something, where in Windows he knew how to do it. And you gotta think about that, because it is a learning curve. And if you're not that good with computers, what I would often say is stick with the same operating system, for the simple reason you're not lost in whatever you're doing. It still does it the same way. And I don't know what's the reason behind your I don't want to have Windows 10, but think about that, and think about the software you use. If you use any specific software, you'll have problems if you just want to go to another operating system. Maybe that software won't work or doesn't exist. So think about it twice before really doing a change. And one thing for sure is that if you buy a PC and you want to install Linux, you gotta have it's not that it's that difficult, but that technical know-how of how to install Linux on the machine. On the Mac side, of course, it's already installed on the Mac side, but it's all depends on what you're going to do. Talking about Windows 10 slowdown, somebody mentioned the but you know what, Atawinta, the problem is your knowledge of PCs is much better already than a lot of people. So your learning curve, because the learning curve from one operating system to the other goes with your knowledge of computers. The more your knowledge is evolved, the easier it is. When I go into Linux, my learning curve is very small because even the first time I've used it, I used one of the distros, it looked natural to me to do things, pretty much. But for somebody that is at the basic level on PCs or on computers, the learning curve is much bigger because you lack the most basic facts of how to do things. That is often the same on pretty much every system. But if you lack that basic fact, just, I've noticed one thing as a tech guy, just the fact that you change a little window. I mean, everything's there. You just change the colors, move one phrase here and a little check mark there. There's tons of people that are already lost. And I mean, you look at I'll look at the same window and say, well, why are you lost? What you were doing is here, and you moved that there, but it's here. But it seems like they focus on a very small chunk of the screen and seem to not see exactly what they do. It's very weird. It's so many times I personally looked at a screen and was like, what's the problem? I don't understand. I don't understand that you don't see how to do the same thing you did before, because it's quite clear that it's like that, and they just modified this little thing here. And you know what? That the thing is, Atawahinta, is that my view comes from the view of a tech guy that fixed computers for 20 years. I've seen what is the reality of the average person. And that's why the learning curve is not the same for everyone. Even in a technical know-how, the learning curve from somebody that might not be that good, but that, I don't know, some people see more of what's happening and have a better ability of looking at another OS, another operating system, and understanding right away what you're going to do with it. I have some clients that have moved successfully to Mac computers from Windows, and the reverse. I've seen Mac users that were fed up with buying PCs that were very expensive and said, well, I can have a Windows machine for half the price, and decided, you know what, I want to save money and I'm going to go into Windows. And they successfully went on Windows and said, well, it's super easy. I remember one of my clients that was on Mac forever. All her friends are on Mac. She decided to buy a Windows machine because it was cheaper. And she looked at me and she said, I don't understand. All of my friends on Mac say that Windows is very difficult to use and it's so bad compared to Mac OS. But she looked at me and she said, honestly, I like it and it's super easy to use. And Windows, as I think a lot of the Mac, comments that are in that vicinity that are, oh, well, Windows PCs are really difficult to use. I think they come more from the fact that, maybe 25 years ago, it was easier to use a Mac with its graphical interface than it was to use DOS or Windows 3.11 that would crash all the time. Or sometimes I think some of them have been on Mac forever and have not realized that Windows has actually moved on to a much better interface, to a much better way of being used. And honestly, I find Windows 10 rivals Mac OS 10 a lot. It's as easy, if not easier to use, and that thing of a Mac is easier to use on a PC it's not there anymore. It doesn't exist anymore. It's for me that I think they are all, even a Linux distro with all the add-ons that they have today, like Ubuntu or Linux Mint. These things have become typically Windows imitations on a Linux core, and basically are making it just as easy to use as any Windows machine. I would like to see this. Some people going into a Linux distro like Linux Mint and see if they can understand how to do the basic things and the internet and all of that. Would it be natural to them? I think for some people it would, actually. So, it's just... I think for most people, it's we gotta think always when I talk about something about the change of OS or PC or whatever. I always have my look into it is a look that is from the perspective of somebody that's seen so many people use PCs, and the majority of users are at the very basic level. I made money off of so many things that were so simple that even I was surprised. And I get that comment all the time in some of the videos that I'll post, and somebody says, "Well, you posted this was very basic." No, everybody knows that, and it's some people have the impression that everybody knows whatever, and you're like, no, you have no idea of how many people don't know how to do it. And there's a reason I did the video. I agree with, it is a very simple thing. I do not agree with, well, everybody knows that. You'd be surprised. A lot of people don't know it. And I had a lot of people tell me, well, oh, thanks, I didn't know you could do that. Still, it was very simple, So, it's just crazy. So, Albert says he finds that the Macs are easier. I find it as easy on one or the other. I do not agree that the Mac is easier than a Windows machine, per se, for customization or anything. But, it's all a question of, when you get to an operating system and you like it, I've always been the guy that's like, okay, you're happy, it's like, oh, well, I got a Windows 7, yeah? You happy? I'm not going to tell you to go Windows 10. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm going to say, well, does what you want and you're happy? Cool. I'm okay with that. It's just crazy. So, just crazy. Anything I can try to have my favorite software to run that runs on Windows 7 too, but not on Windows 10, and that question comes from. Let me just check it out here. That question comes from Frank. So you got a piece of software that is a customized piece of software, and that's the biggest problem in general when you have a piece of software that's very customized to a version of Windows. That's where problems arise, and there's a good chance you might not be able to run it within Windows 10. But you could do two things. So if you know what, that little icon of executable that you have, you can right click on it. And in the properties, you will have compatibility mode. You can try to force it to run in Windows 7 mode. don't forget to put the little check mark that run this as administrator, because a lot of older software have a bad habit of writing into some folders that are actually folders that you're not allowed to do so in Windows 10 for security reasons. And the thing is, that often breaks a piece of software. So by putting administrator, it's actually going to tell Windows, yeah, this piece of software can do whatever it wants. If that doesn't work, the other thing that I would say here is, install virtualization. VMware or whatever software. What's the one from? The one from Oracle. God. Anyways, you install a piece of software that will enable you to run Windows 7 within a window in Windows 10, and there you would be able probably to install your software and have it working. There's a little glitch on that. I have to say, it's that if the software you have needs to have access to the outside world for printer, for all sorts of things like that, sometimes it's really just crazy difficult to try to have it connected. Sometimes, and even in a virtualized environment, even there, sometimes it doesn't work well. So I hope you try one of those situations. Tommy, which is all surprised because he finally reinstalled Windows 10 on his laptop. And of course, one of the reasons why he did that, he was going crazy with the fact that the update that was, I don't remember the KB number, but the update that came up for fixing the USB ports problems with some machines would never install, and it drove him crazy. And he said, "Well, you know what? I'm gonna reinstall." So first of all, he tried to do a reinstall, but keeping the files. It never did work. It doesn't always work. Okay, that option sometimes is broken depending on all sorts of things. It could be a piece of software you've got that prevents it from doing it. It could be tons of settings or things that are in it and that are preventing it from actually working into, reinstalling but keeping the stuff you've got. It often, especially if the PC's been used for a long time, the longer you have used your PC, the less likely you'll be able to reinstall and keep your stuff, because the less likely it will actually work when you try to reinstall and keep your files. That's why having a backup is a great idea all the time. Prit Anand, nice to have you here. So the thing is, it happens, and sometimes you just have no choice to clean install, to have it installed. So you did that, and you said, why don't I have that problem anymore of, even that, because what is amazing to you is the fact that that USB update didn't show up. Well, it didn't show up because you got one big cumulative update. So when you reinstalled, it told you it's installing the March cumulative update package. And the March cumulative update package has everything in it. Everything from the beginning of Windows 10. So whatever version you installed, the cumulative update brought you up to the latest version with the latest updates. Everything's in there. That is what is nice about Windows 10 updates. The fact that the cumulative update is a big chunk that adapts to whatever you are, wherever you are in your updates. And it's nice because it prevents from things like on Windows 7 when we had like these stupid things like 200 updates before you're updated. It was like crazy, especially for a tech guy. You're like, okay, just installed Windows 7 SP1. I've got 176 updates coming through. Okay, and then you had to streamline. You had to try to streamline the DVD with the latest updates in them and everything, to try to have the least amount of extras afterwards. But you know what? It's just crazy, just crazy. And you know, it's everything was in there. That's why you didn't see that update for USB. It was part of the cumulative update package. You will see some extras like you will see some extras like you know, flash updates, for example. These are not part of the cumulative updates, so there will often be a little bit of things like that. But the most part, almost everything is in the big cumulative update. So you know, that's why you didn't see anything else. Everything was in that big package, and hopefully your updates are fixed and you'll have your regular updates. Okay. Yeah, that one is annoying. I get it too. This one comes from Steven. Steven says that he's installed DOM Pod Player because he saw my video and he loves the DOM Pod Player, but when he puts the default, he gets it to a point where sometimes Windows will say, oh, there was a problem with the default. I defaulted it back to the whatever store app, and and I got that regularly also. You know what? One of the things that I've noticed about that is when an app that does the same thing as DOM Pod Player. So, for example, the Movies and TV app would view one of my videos. When the app opens up, it checks if it's a default, and it kind of clashes with whatever other software you've got that might, you know. And Windows, it's like, it's crazy. I sometimes wonder if Microsoft didn't do it intentionally. So you know what? The best thing you can do about that, get CCleaner and remove the default app if you don't need it, and just keep DOM Pod Player. So what I did on one of my machines is Movies and TV was clashing with DOM Pod Player, so I took CCleaner and I uninstalled Movies and TV. And I haven't had any problems since, because there's no more apps that can clash with DOM Pod Player. Or VLC, if you're using VLC, same thing can happen. It's just crazy. And I'm pretty sure Microsoft is intentionally doing this because they want to drive us mad. Once again, another rant on Microsoft today. Three rants. Verkilly 2, don't need to turn off BitLocker usually, because the BitLocker anyway will only work on the files that are you know, in the regular folders like documents and you know, music and stuff like that. It doesn't change anything to the update process. So there's really no need to turn it off, honestly, before a big update. Now, it's like sometimes people tell me, oh, do you turn off the antivirus or stuff like that? You don't really, you know, have to have that issue. That thing, you know, you don't need to remove your antivirus to install or do something, you know. It's always something that, you know, I've always been amazed at, you know, when companies tell me, oh, well, you know, maybe you have a problem. Well, uninstall, you know, or deactivate your antivirus before you install our software and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't remember in 20 years of tech guy duties, if there was, and maybe there was and I don't remember many things that happened or didn't install correctly because of the antivirus. I don't remember anything like that happening. And you know, maybe once I remember a driver for a old DSL modem that had a clash with like Norton antivirus or something. So maybe a few cases here and there, but in 99% of the time, even if they say, well, you got to deactivate your antivirus before you do this, yeah, I have never deactivated. I never deactivate my antivirus to install something, and I rarely had issues. It's usually somewhere else, honestly. So you know. Well, that is answering your question, Prit Anand. Is, you know what? Remember that the insider bills are not still official release. They are testing software. It's basically a beta software. So Grand Theft Auto might be broken for some reason, and you'll get an update to the insider builds, and it's going to come back and it's going to work fine. So there's a lot of these things that can be broken just because it's an insider build. It's not exactly the same. So you're getting problems with Grand Theft Auto 5. You're probably gonna at some point you'll install the build, or they'll have a cumulative update, and you're gonna see in the list of, oh, you addressed an issue with GTA 5 that didn't work on some machines and so on. I would not use a insider machine to game, because there's so many things that are often. The other thing is that's the other thing is you might also need to reinstall the insider build. Also, maybe it's just because you need to clean install it. There's something that happened while it updated all the times. Like my game bar isn't working on this machine, but everybody's saying it's working on theirs. So I am guessing that something is broken, and every time I get a new build, it's still broken. I'll have to clean install to fix it. So it's just. But honestly, it's just it's being an insider. Yeah, but it's still not. It still has a watermark. It still means there's some stuff, and every time there's a new build, you see that they fixed stuff. Honestly. So that could be a possibility. I know that File Explorer, if like with RS5, they've checked on sets. They've added sets to File Explorer, which I think is one of the first things that might be the start of using the Fluent Design. I'd like File Explorer to have Fluent Design and Dark Theme. I would use Dark Theme. I'd use Dark Theme everywhere. When it's available, I use the Dark Theme on everything. I like that. So anything is possible, but we don't know a lot about RS5 yet. And even the latest build of Skip Ahead yesterday doesn't have anything new, really. Sets is the only thing. Sets is the only thing that we really know. Little Perkovsky, nice to have you here. Can I become an Office Insider if I do not have Office 365 but Office 2016 Pro? Anybody can be an Office Insider. You don't have to have Office. It works in the same manner of being a Windows Insider. So you might not have at all Windows 10. You go and join the Windows Insider program and you get the Insider previews. It's just that when you get to the main build, it won't activate because it's going to tell you, well, you don't seem to have a machine that's compatible. So it means, you're not getting it for free, honestly. So same thing, Office, you go and join the Office Insider program, and it will have you download the latest versions, and you do not have to have or own any Office products. It's just that once the official build of the Office product is there, it's just going to say that it's not activating. That's it. That's it. You know what, Green 9227. That is also the. There are things sometimes. Microsoft said, "Oops, we accidentally forced updated some people," and I am one of those that thinks that, well, yeah, you know what, you didn't just oops. Somebody somewhere said, hey, let's do it. And if there's too much or too many people going crazy, we'll stop. I honestly sometimes think they're just testing the water, and they're going there and saying, let's try it out. And if nobody says anything, we'll keep it like that. It's one of the biggest problems of Microsoft, not being able to respect what users want and the users do. And it's one of my regular rants, I can tell you that. Just sometimes, just crazy. Just crazy. Prit says, I did clean install many times, wasn't fixing the issue, so waiting for the fix. Is the same machine, by the way, that you have the insider preview? Same machine? So, Yep, there's a cumulative update. I talked about it at the beginning of the show. There's a cumulative update for Windows 10 today. Bug fixes. Cool Tech. Have I tried Instagram? Yeah, I did try Instagram a little bit. But you know what? I'm not much of a... I'm not social enough to move on to other apps, honestly. I stick with Facebook for, my friends. And honestly, my really close friends, we are even outside of that, and we're kind of, text messaging directly on our phones. Rather than going through Facebook Messenger, for example. Yeah, let's hope for a redesign. Would be nice. Would be nice. Take care, Atawinta. Nice to have you on board. And have fun at the gym. See you next week. And take care, please. So, it's kind of interesting. Yeah. Hold that for the cumulative update push today's bug fixing. There's a lot of issues that were fixed. I will have, by the way, a video later today explaining what's in the package for the cumulative update that was received, and it's only for 1709, so it's only for the fall careers update. The other versions did not have anything today. Andre Arias, nice to have you here. Pretty cool to have all of you on board. Cool Tech, my friend's Android phone is stuck on safe mode even after factory resetting. It has old budget Samsung phone with Android 4.2. Something might be wrong with the device itself. I had one device once that was stuck on safe mode like that with Android, and the reason it stuck on safe mode is it just couldn't initialize one device or one chip in it that had some kind of issue. And Android version 4.2 is so outdated. You shouldn't use that phone. It's just crazy, all the security risks in there. I can tell you that. It's just crazy. Well, it should usually work. So you should usually have in the settings, in your user settings, you should have the possibility to put a pin. But I've known that some people, you're not alone. I've seen a few people tell me, follow your instructions on the video to put a pin. It doesn't seem to work. So I don't know. I'll try to find something into that, and if I have a solution, I'll let you guys know. Basically. So, hey guys, this was the tech show number 109, for today, March 22nd. I'll do the kind of numbers on the builds. We all pretty much think that the numbers are, this is, for example, on build 17127, this is the 17,127th version of Windows 10 that they've fixed. And if they do fixes again, okay, we're at 17,128 version of Windows 10, and 29, and 30. And we, in there, get some of these that are very stable, the most stable possible. The ones we don't get is because they're not stable. We're not going to get them. So, but it's pretty much that. Oh, I fixed that little glitch here. We're moving one build number. That's it. And the numbers are pretty much like that, or that's pretty much what we think, honestly. So So, Devil's Drill. Hey, why new version, Android version go public like Windows for upgrade even on older hardware, like upgrade from Windows 7 to Windows 10? The biggest problem with that is that it doesn't have, so Android updates and upgrades are a problem because of several factors. Android is like Windows. It has to work on hundreds and hundreds of different configurations. So it needs to be tested by the manufacturer, first of all. So the manufacturer will test it out, tweak it, change it, modify it to work with the device. That's the first step. But the second step is your carrier also needs to approve that it will be updated to your device. So you might have it available, but your carrier might say, no, I'm blocking that update. I don't want to have 200,000 people calling me because they just don't get it why their phone is changed suddenly. So that is another reason why it takes a long time. And it's crazy. You know, unlike Windows where there's a certain way that hardware is made so that the Windows installs and works in the environment, Android needs to be tweaked on many devices to work specifically with the device. Plus, you know, a lot of the companies like Samsung have their own crap that they want to tweak and put inside the device, which is always annoying. I'd like to have a pure experience, not a crap Samsung stuff over it, which I always remove and I always kind of forget, you know. But it's just crazy. So, you know. That is totally normal. It's not an issue, Prit Anand. When you download something, there's always a security scan. It's normal. It's a normal part. It's a verification to make sure that your files that you've downloaded are okay. And of course, the bigger the file, the longer that security scan takes. Yeah, and some carriers do add their crap to it. Absolutely, Tim. You are right on that. And, you know, we end up with a phone that's great with tons of crap over it. Like PCs. You buy a PC from HP, you'll get a beautiful Windows 10 PC with HP crap all over it. Which is always something annoying that I hate. I didn't have time, Grateful Pros. I'm so sorry. I promise I'll come to it in the next day. I'll be checking that out tonight or tomorrow morning. Really sorry. I've been totally going crazy here. Yeah, I don't know if there'll be a Pixel tablet. That would be interesting to see, honestly. So, you know. Yeah, the Google Pixels are the only one that gets pretty much everything right away because they are the Google-owned devices. And Google makes Android, so, you know, of course.
My apologies. I don't understand.
I didn't talk to you. So, you know. I have the S7 and it's an amazing phone. I love it. I still, you know, my contract expired now and I have no reason to upgrade my phone. Honestly. I have no reason to upgrade my phone. Yes, I did have a great birthday, but the problem is I had too many birthday parties the past week. So I'll check it out, Gripple Pros, I promise. Devil's Drill. Whenever RS4 release date announcement happens, please make a video. Oh, I will always. I always do the videos of whatever announcements are that I think are important. So, yeah. So, hey, take care, everybody. I'm going to take a little break for 30 minutes, 35 minutes. And I will be going to see if Paul the Cat, which is outside, is probably waiting by the door saying, I want to get in. We'll be back in 35 minutes with the Windows Insider Hour. So if you want to join us, and we'll be taking a look at the last build. Yes, I did get all the cards, Gripple Pros. It was really nice. Really nice. Thanks again. my friend. So take care. And so the cat is outside, and so probably he's going to be here in the Insider Show if you guys want to see him. So see you in the Insider Show a little later. I'm taking like 35-minute break, and we'll be back talking about the future of Windows on the other channel. Thanks everybody for being great fans. See you a little later. See you next week for those that are going to be here next week. And of course, for those that follow me on the radio shows, tomorrow and Saturday, 2 shows, 2000 hours UTC. So take care, everybody. Bye-bye.